Greetings everybody, welcome to Dark Souls 2. My name is Alarian and this is the Safer Souls series. Welcome back to the Ancient Dragon. Now, I know I already have a video out there for the Gurm Shield method, but I found that I was finishing up a playthrough on a sorcery and I didn't have the prerequisites to wield the Gurm Shield, so I really needed to find another method. And after learning that there was no way to infuse a kite shield to be 100% fire resist, I stumbled through a couple of different attempts. They didn't really go well. And then I finally came to one that I found worked really well. In fact, I liked a lot, which is why I'm now showing you that on my Safer Soul character. Just to prove that this can be done by any class. It doesn't matter what your build is. There are no real requirements to it. So it's a pretty easy method. It turned out really safe, and frankly, I'm kind of okay with it. And just as a point of note, you definitely don't want to do this the way I did and pass a bunch of mobs, but I wanted to get this video recorded as quickly as possible, so I didn't bother clearing. Alright, so as we come up to the Ancient Dragon, as normal, you immediately want to run off to the side a little bit and punish his Cone of Fire. Keep in mind, it is possible for him to do a Rain of Fire there, however, it's very unlikely, so you're probably not going to see it. And what I'm doing right now is the key to this method. It's basically staying directly in front of his head. And again, we're baiting out the cone or baiting out the rain, but we're going to stay in front of him and try and keep him on a straight axis. And what it does by staying in front of him, it gives you enough range away from where the Rain of Fire is going to start that even a very minimal amount of running will clear it almost every time. Now you can see here I ran to the other side, and the reason for that is because when he performs the Rain of Fire, he will creep forward. And this is especially true if he does the Rain of Fire twice in a row, as you're going to see in a little bit. But as he creeps forward, he can cut off the distance between you and the end of your run zone. So the first time I tried this on the Sorcerer, I ended up getting caught on the fog wall because he crept a bit forward and I wasn't able to get away from the Rain of Fire, so that I found that at a couple different points in the fight, it made sense for me to bait out a Cone of Fire, and when he performed that, run to his far side and wait for the next Rain of Fire. And what you can do that is get him positioned pretty much where you want him. And now you can see he's a little bit off to the side. He's canted a little bit in the arena, and that's okay because his tail's off the end. There's a huge amount of space in front of his head for me to use just to get away from his rains and then come back in. So as you can see here, I'm going to move right in front of his head, and he is going to Rain of Fire, so I'm going to run directly away from his head. And if I'm doing this right, I should never see that fire animation come close to me as I'm running. And as you can see there, it was really far away, and now I just get back in, and you want to be about 15 to 20 yards in front of his head to try and bait out the attacks, and to stay safe. And then if it's Cone of Fire, you sprint in, and if it's Rain of Fire, you turn around and you sprint away. And it's really that simple, and this works really well for casters, it works really well for melee. I will have to melee later in this fight, so you are going to get to see that. One important point to make as you're running in is don't use up all your stamina, because you are going to need to sprint in to get inside of his head so that you can safely attack. So you don't want to be caught right in front of his face as he goes to do a Cone of Fire without any endurance. That could end very badly. So you do want to manage your endurance as you're going in, but as you can see, it's just a matter of run in, run out, and at no point here am I really putting myself at any risk. And the thing I really like about this method is that it eliminates a lot of the randomness that can occur. For example, with the Gurm Shield method that I was using, I was doing a lot of circling, and the circling causes him occasionally to get off-center in the arena, and that can cause you to run out of space. So the last time I did this, and why there was a fog wall there, was I got a little bit too close to the edge with him, and as I went to get away from him while blocking with the shield, I ended up being almost directly below him and taking all 3 pulses and dying. So now as you can see here, I'm near the end of the arena. He did 2 Rain of Fires, he crept forward a lot, so now I'm going to look to reposition him, because you saw the tail end of the fire animation as I was finishing my run. That's definitely a sign that it's time to try and reposition and get more room to run. So I'm back online with the fog wall. I'm hoping he'll turn and do a Rain of Fire. And there he goes. So I'm going to run up to the fog wall. And this is essentially forcing a reset of the encounter. Now he's at about half health. He's back in a position where he started. And we can just go in and back out until we feel like he's crept a bit too far forward again. And again, it is very important that you do get inside the head. He does arc back and forth with the cone of fire quite a bit, so if you're in front of the head when he's doing it, there's a good chance you can get hit. And I want you to watch right here what happened. That was an incredible blunder on my part, and I don't even follow up particularly well with this next rain of fire that he's going to do, because I don't run far enough at this point, and you can see the tail end of the fire animation coming. But because I was in front of his head when I started to do that lightning spear that just was not smart at that moment, I was able to even just kind of panic roll through it and still avoid it. And that's what I like about this method. It gives you a lot of room for error. And I made a lot of errors in this fight and still didn't really have any problem with it. Alright, so his feet are getting kind of close to that circle. That tells me, when I'm on the fog wall side, that he's starting to get a little too close, and the next rain of fire could be bad for me if I run to the fog wall and I'm not outside its range. So I'm going to be looking to get around to the tail side again. And again, just like repeating the front side of this encounter, I want to get on the side of him that gives me the most room to run away. Alright, and here's the rain of fire. I'm going to get up near the edge of the arena, make sure I have enough room when I turn around, and we can see here that there is a huge amount of space between me and him. I'm going to clear that back, but I know now that I probably have enough time and space to finish this encounter without having to turn him again. We're back in front of the head. And you can see here I didn't properly, I actually over-anticipated a rain of fire. I didn't properly deal with the fact that the cone of fire was coming, but there's still enough time, because his animations are so slow, to make up for mistakes like that. So back out. And turn around, make sure the fire is not creeping too far forward, and we're still okay. We can keep going without changing his position. And now you're going to get to see the melee version. So move in all the way up to the toe, and get a couple whacks in. If you're using a slower weapon like the Claymore, 3 is plenty. You definitely don't want to be greedy here. If you're using an even slower weapon like an Ultra Greatsword, you're probably not going to get more than 2. And again, this is really a fight about being safe and eliminating the random possibility of you getting killed, or the possibility of you getting killed because of something random, rather, and getting this encounter done so you can move on with the game, because this one can be really frustrating if you keep getting killed on it. Right, so back in front of the head. Should be able to wrap this up in 1 or 2 more attacks. And based on the amount of space here I have in the arena, we should have plenty of space to do that. Alright, the head comes back. That means cone of fire, so I'm going to sprint into the toe. Give it a few whacks. Back to the head. There's the wings. That's the rain of fire. Fire's still pretty far away from us, so we can go back in. We're still safe here. Head goes back. We run into the toe. Give it a few whacks. And that'll do it. There you go, folks. Ancient Dragon. This is an any class method that works well for pretty much any build out there. And as always, I hope this helped, and I hope to see you again in the next video.